We're gonna do the warm-up by sitting down. So just make sure you've got a block next to you, or you can use pillows to sit on. And then just start, we got a couple of minutes, so just start sitting on the block and then working on the core muscles, and then when it comes to exactly 1:45, we're gonna start the class, okay? Start working on the breath, so you start lengthening the breath, and just make sure that you're taking it easy this morning to start with the warm-up, because it is actually quite cold. So it depending on how warm it is in the house, just make sure that you're not doing anything too sudden, okay? Okay, so sit yourself on the block and just make sure that half of your bum is on the block and half of it is rolling forward. So you want to basically have your bum, the sitting bones matching to the front of the block. I still keep the sitting bones on the block, and then I just roll myself so that basically the pelvis is tilting forward, and that keeps you upright, okay? So, and then just cross your legs in front of you and start working on the core muscles. So today's class, we're gonna start, well, basically we're gonna do some nice moves, but everything I want you to concentrate today is on the core muscles. So it's quite important that you get the feeling of the core muscles being activated. The first part is the Mula Bandha, which is this pelvic floor lock. So you need to basically pull, squeeze the bum hole and suck in the belly button towards the spine. So these are the two bandhas that control the lower part of the abdomen, and you're feeling this nipping and tucking, so this pulling up from the pelvic floor. Then open the chest, tuck the chin under, and imagine that somebody is pulling you from the top of your head into this imaginary line that is pulling you upward, okay? So you've got this uplifting sensation of the spine. When you're tucking the chin under, the neck is in line with the rest of the back. And then place your hands wherever they're comfortable on the legs. And as you're working on the core muscles, you start also adding the breath to it. So you're breathing through the nose only, and you're lengthening the breath, so it's the same length on the inhale as it is on the exhale, okay? So we're gonna start with the pace of breathing in to the count of 5, breathing out to the count of 5. That brings us to 6 breaths per minute. That activates the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve basically calms down the whole body systems. So inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just carry on with the breathing, work on the core muscles. And now just stretch interlace the fingers in front of you, and now stretch your arms in front of you, so you're looking at the palms of your hands. On the next inhale, push the palms away from you, stretch the arms, and on the exhale, suck the belly in and bring the hands up towards the ceiling. Roll the shoulders back. So the straighter the arms, the bigger the stretch you're getting. Make sure that the belly doesn't stick out. So you're sucking the belly in, roll the shoulders back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, looking straight ahead and pushing the palms up towards the ceiling. On the next inhale, you're keeping your right hand down left hand up towards the ceiling, right hand down towards the floor. On the next inhale, lengthen the left side of the body. Exhale, lean towards your right, looking towards your left armpit. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. Suck the belly in, work on the core muscles. Roll that shoulder back. So you're squeezing the shoulder blade towards the spine, and you're keeping your left arm as straight as you can, so you're feeling the stretch on the left side of the body. On the next inhale, come back to the center, left hand by the block, right hand up towards the ceiling. Inhale, stretch the right side. Exhale, lean towards your left, bending the left elbow, looking down towards your right armpit. Inhale into the count of 5. exhaling to the count of 5. So making sure you're grounding down through the sitting bones, keeping your right arm as straight as you can, so you're feeling that stretch on the right side of the body. Now on the next inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, right hand behind you, left hand over the right knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your right, using your arms to sort of help you twist in towards the right. On the inhale, lengthen the spine. Imagine that line that is pulling you up towards the ceiling. And exhale, turning towards your right. Chin parallel to the floor and you're looking towards your right shoulder. On the next inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, left hand behind you, right hand over the left knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your left, chin parallel to the floor and you're looking towards your left shoulder. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center. Let go of the block. Place it somewhere where you can grab it easily during the class. Come on your fours. Hands directly underneath the shoulders, they're shoulder width apart. Knees directly underneath the hips, hip width apart. On the next inhale, you're looking forward. Curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out. So you're trying to keep the arms and the legs very stable. The only thing that moves is the back. On the exhale, you're curving the back towards the ceiling. Start contracting the abdominals by pushing the bum towards your hands, looking down towards your knees. Inhale, look forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out, relax the belly. Exhale, start curving the back towards the ceiling, push the bum towards your hands, looking down towards your knees. Doing 2 more, following your breath. On the inhale, you do one movement. On the exhale, you do the other movement. Feeling that your back is starting to wake up and open up. And then on the next inhale, come back into a neutral position. Tuck your toes under on the inhale, and on the exhale, push your bum up towards the ceiling, looking down towards your feet. And on the inhale, you're bending the right knee, transferring the weight onto the left. On the exhale, you're bending the left knee, transferring the weight onto the right. Nice and long movement. Start very gently opening up the back of the legs. On the inhale, you're bending one leg. On the exhale, you're bending the other. And then on the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet hip width apart. Grab hold of the opposite elbow. Inhale, look forward, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend the knees. Rest the torso on the thighs, let go of the head. And then nod your head a couple of times, turn the head right and left. And then very gently, if you want to, you can straighten the legs, but make sure that you're pointing the top of the head down towards the floor. And then start bringing the body towards the right leg and then towards the left. Very gently on the inhale, come back into the center. On the exhale, you're letting go of the hands on the floor, bending the knees, tucking the chin under, and you're coming up into a standing position, head last to come up. Come to the top of the mat. We're going to do the mountain pose, and then I'm going to read you the disclaimer. So, big toes are touching. Spread the other toes as much as you can on the mat. Distribute the weight into the middle of the feet. And then start pulling the kneecaps up. You want to re-engage the pelvic floor, tilting the pelvis under until you're feeling this pulling onto the lower abdominal area. Suck the belly in, open the chest, tuck the chin under, arms by your sides with the fingers pointing down towards the floor. Start working on the core muscle, work on the breath. And then when participating in any exercise or exercise program, you may incur the possibility of injury. And if you voluntarily participate into this class, you take all responsibility for any injuries occurring to yourself, okay? Now bring your hands in front of your chest. Close your eyes for a second, set an intention for today's practice. And I am also gonna suggest to be kind to yourself today, especially if you've got any injuries or any problems with your body. Just don't push yourself too much. Just get to a point where you're feeling more and more aware of your body. And then at the same time, you're just gently allowing it to open up without trying to push it too much, okay? All right, we're gonna do 3 sun salutations. The first one we're gonna do at the basic level, and if that's already enough, just carry on with the same level for the following 2, otherwise go to your own level. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, look up at the hands, suck the belly in. On the exhale, you're folding forward at the hips, bringing the hands on the shin, the ankle or the mat. On the next inhale, press through the hands, look forward, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, hands on the mat, step the right leg out into a lunge, left leg to meet it into a high plank. Now set the plank, you're on your tiptoes, you're pushing your heels away from you. Push the hips forward, so you're squeezing the bum, suck the belly in, squeeze the shoulder blades together, looking down towards the floor. On the exhale, knees to the floor, leading with the chest, you're rubbing the elbows by your side and you're bringing your chest down to the floor, you're looking forward. Top of the feet on the mat, hands underneath the shoulders. On the next inhale, peel the chest off the floor, you're looking forward, elbows are bent. And on the exhale, tuck your toes under, coming to your hands and knees. Bring the seat towards your heels and you're coming up into a downward dog, looking down towards your feet, stepping your feet forward, keeping your feet hip width apart. You're trying to bring the heels down towards the floor. If the heels are quite high up, just bend the knees, push the bum up, and then gently try to bring the heels down towards the floor so that you're about 70% of your range of movement, and very gently starting to breathe into the pose, inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. The aim is to have your heels down towards the floor with the legs as straight as you can. Last breath here, inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet together. Exhale, you're folding forward, letting go of the head towards the floor. On the next inhale, come up a little bit, you're engaging the core, sucking the belly in. Bring your hands up towards the ceiling and exhale, hands by your sides. Before we do the second one, have a look at the plank, okay? When you're doing the plank, the tendency is always to have the bum slightly more up than it should be. So you need to bring the shoulders above the wrist, push the heels away from you, and push the hips for you're tilting the pelvis under slightly, okay? So you're doing this. Can you see that now? I'm in line with the rest of the body, okay? If you want to go down into a low plank, you're looking forward, roll the shoulders back, and you're hovering halfway down. So you're not here, you're here, okay? Right, so we're gonna do it, the second one. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat, add a step or jump into a high plank. Inhale, set the plank. Exhale, add a low plank or knees to the floor. On the next inhale, push the body through the hands, straighten the arms, roll the shoulders back, look forward. Top of the feet on the mat. On the exhale, tuck your toes under, downward dog. And you're coming again with your feet hip width apart. And now you're focusing on the upper part of the body. Wrists in line with the top of the mat, fingers nice and spread. Roll your shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Point the top of the head down towards the floor. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. So you're trying to create an inverted V onto the floor. Lengthen the breath.
Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. So you're feeling that you're letting go and you're opening up your upper back. Tilt your pelvis under slightly, and then on the next inhale you're looking towards your hands. You've got a few options here. You can jump to the top of the mat, keeping your legs as straight as you can, or you can walk to the top of the mat or step 1 foot at a time, whatever you want to do. Exhale, you're folding forward, letting go of the head. Inhale, come up a little bit, engage the core, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands by your sides. Last one. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press to the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat, at a step or jump into a high plank. Inhale, set the plank. Exhale, at a low plank or knees to the floor. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, down dog. Now set all the elements together of this pose. Lengthen the breath, scan your body, see if there's any area that feels particularly uncomfortable, and just focus on that area, allowing it to open up, bringing the breath into that area, and sort of really trying to surrender to the pose rather than resisting it with the area that feels uncomfortable. Stay at 70% of your range of movement, so don't push to the limit. Just hold back a little bit and just allow that joint or that area to open up. Last breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, you're looking forward at a step or jump to the top of the mat. And exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, engage the core, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands by your sides. Okay, so everybody should be nice and warm now. Right, so we start with the triangle pose. We have the feet hip width apart, hands on the hips. We're stepping with the right foot, two-thirds of the mat. And the heels of the right foot is on the mat. The toes are pointing towards the top right corner of the mat. On the next inhale, pull the kneecaps up, hands parallel to the floor. On the exhale, you're leaning forward. Place your hands on the shin or on the inside of the ankle. Right hand up towards the ceiling. Palms are facing away from you. Let's start from the shoulder. So palm facing up towards the ceiling, and you're rolling that right shoulder back. So you're rolling it back, squeezing the shoulder blades towards the spine. So you're feeling that you're pulling down that shoulder joint. And then on the next inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the left side of the body. And on the exhale, you're turning the torso towards your right, either looking straight ahead or towards your right hand. On the next inhale, pull the kneecaps up, making sure the legs are nice and long, especially the front leg. And exhale, just start scanning the body. Sending the breath to any area that feels uncomfortable during this pose. On the inhale, you're lengthening the spine. On the exhale, you're turning towards your right. And then on the next inhale, looking down towards the floor. Exhale, you're bringing your hands parallel to the floor. Inhale, hands on the hips, and exhale, you're stepping to the front of the mat. We're going to do it on the other side. Feet together, hands on the hips. You're stepping with your left foot, two-thirds of the mat, turning the toes towards the top left corner of the mat. Make sure that you're keeping your legs straight at all times, especially the front one, that it doesn't bend, okay? That protects your lower back. On the next inhale, pull the kneecaps up, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Exhale, lean forward. Place your hands either on the shin or on the inside of the ankle. Left hand up towards the ceiling. Looking either straight ahead or towards your left hand. Start with the arms. So the left hand, the palm is facing away from you, pointing up towards the ceiling. Roll that shoulder back. On the next inhale, lengthen the right side of the rib cage. On the exhale, turn the torso towards your left. On the next inhale, pull the kneecaps up, lengthen the spine, and on the exhale, try to really turn towards your left, looking either straight ahead or towards your left hand. And then on the next couple of breaths, start scanning the body and send the breath wherever you feel like it needs extra attention, just to open up and release any pain. And then on the next inhale, look down towards the floor. Exhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Inhale, hands on the hips, and exhale, you step into the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, so we start with the lunge. So we have the feet hip width apart. Bring your block on the outside of the left foot, just in case, just on in front of you, just in case you need it, okay? So start with the feet hip width apart. When you're stepping back with your right foot, you want to keep the hip width stance between the back and the front foot, okay? The right leg is straight, you're on the tiptoes of the right foot and you're pushing the heel away from you so the right leg is straight. Now you're starting to bend the front leg. On the next inhale, bring your hands parallel up towards the ceiling, suck the belly in. We're gonna stay here for 2 breaths and then we're gonna come down to the floor. Inhaling to the count of 5, suck the belly in, and exhaling to the count of 5. Feeling the stretch on the front of the right hip. On the next inhale, bring your hands to the hips and bring your right knee down onto the floor. On the next inhale, you're placing your right hand underneath the shoulder, so parallel to the left foot. And then you can straighten the right leg if you want to. Bring your left arm up towards the ceiling. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Suck the belly in on the inhale, turning the torso towards your left. Last breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5 and exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, you're looking down towards the floor, left hand on the hip, right knee down onto the floor. Tuck your toes under of the right foot. We're coming back up. So you're pressing on the right toes and you're straightening the right leg. And on the exhale, you're stepping to the front of the mat. If you find that posture was difficult, you can either bring a chair next to you or you can use the block underneath the hand that you're bringing down onto the floor, okay? So if you need the block, just bring it in front of you. Feet hip width apart. You're stepping with the left foot into a lunge, so you're on the tiptoes of the left foot. The left foot is further out than the right. The left leg is straight by pushing the heel away from you. The right leg is bent. On the next inhale, sitting between the legs, suck the belly in. On the exhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And we're gonna feel now, stay into the pose for 2 breaths. As you're feeling the left front of the hip opening up, but at the same time, you're also feeling it on the lower back, on the shoulders. Just focus your breath onto any area that needs extra attention just to be able to open up. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands down onto your hips and bring your left knee down onto the floor. Now, use the block if you need the extra help underneath your left hand. So you're placing the hand on the block. Otherwise, you're placing your left hand directly on the floor. And then straighten the left leg. Turn the torso towards your right. And you're bringing your right hand up towards the ceiling with the palms facing away from you. On the inhale, push the left heel back so the left leg is straight. On the exhale, turn the torso towards your right so that you're really feeling that twist. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. You're either looking straight ahead or towards your right hand. Last breath here, and then on the next inhale, you're looking down towards the floor, right hand on the hip, left knee down onto the floor. Coming back up, so both hands are on the hip. Tuck your left toes under, straighten the left leg, and you're stepping to the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, grab hold of the block and place it on the outside of your left foot, feet together, hands on the hips, and you're stepping with the right foot halfway down the mat. So a little bit of a shorter stance. You still should be able to square the hips towards the front, so that right foot needs to be further out, okay? Both legs are straight. On the next inhale, pull the kneecaps up. On the exhale, you're leaning forward, so you're trying to create a space between the belly and the thigh. And then you're placing your right hand on the outside of the left foot, either on the block or directly onto the floor. On the next inhale, pull the kneecaps up, pull the left hip back. On the exhale, turn the torso towards your left. And if you want, you can bring your left hand up towards the ceiling. As long as you're feeling that you've got the core muscles, don't put all your weight down onto the block. You still should be able to maintain the pose even if you're lifting the arm off the floor, okay? Inhale into the count of 5 and exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, look down towards the floor, left hand on the hip, and exhale, you're coming all the way up, step into the front of the mat. Place the block on the outside of the right foot, hands on the hips. On the next inhale, step your left foot back halfway down the mat, turning the toes towards the top left corner of the mat. You should be able to pull the right hip back. If you can't, it means your left foot is too much behind the right, so you need to step it out. And then on the next inhale, suck the belly in, pull the kneecaps up so the legs are straight. Exhale, you're leaning forward. So you're not collapsing here, you're leaning forward and you're placing your left hand on the block on the outside of the right foot. Your right hand is on the hip. On the next inhale, pull the right hip back. Turn the torso towards your right. You can just keep your right hand on the hip, or if you want, you can bring your right hand up towards the ceiling. You're looking straight ahead or towards your right hand. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. Make sure you're still pulling the kneecaps up and that the hips are square towards the front. And then on the exhale, you're turning the torso towards your right. Nice and long breaths. And then on the next inhale, looking down towards the floor. Exhale, bring your hands on the hips and you're coming all the way up, step into the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay. Start with the feet together. We're going to do warrior 2. So you're stepping with the right foot, quite a long stance, turning the toes towards the edge of the mat, okay? So you're placing the weight onto the edge of the right foot so that you're lifting your inside of your arch and you're trying to turn that right leg out, okay? And now you're concentrating onto the front leg. You're bending the front leg, but you still want to see the big toes. On the next inhale, sit in between the legs, don't lean forward. Bring your arms parallel to the floor. And on the exhale, roll your shoulders back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and you're looking towards your left middle finger. Look down towards the front leg, still wanting to see the big toe. So you're pushing that left knee out. So you're really feeling the opening in between the hips really. So the front of your hips. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. Now if you're rolling the shoulder back and squeeze the shoulder blades together, you're able to lift the underarms, which is the bat wings, which you basically want to also train on that, okay? Last 2 breaths here. Inhale into the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Scan the body, relax any areas that feels particularly uncomfortable in this pose. And then on the next inhale, hands on the hips, straighten the front leg, and on the exhale, take a short step forward first, and then stop to the front of the mat. Give yourself a bit of a shake, and we're gonna do it the other side. Start with the feet together, stepping with your left foot out, turning the toes towards the top, the side of the mat. Weight onto the edge of the left foot, lifting the inside of your left arch. And then on the next inhale, bending the front leg. So you should feel that this area is opening up. Still wanting to see the big toe, don't lean forward, sitting between the legs. On the next inhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor, roll the shoulders back, looking towards your right hand. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. The other thing that a lot of people do is that the back arm tends to be down here, okay? So bring it up and imagine that somebody's pulling you from opposite direction. So there's some people at the front, some people at the back pulling you by the arm, and you're resisting that. So your arms are very active. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Last breath here. Scan the body and just send the breath wherever it is that it feels particularly uncomfortable on this pose. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands to the hips, straighten the front leg, take a short step forward, and then step to the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, we're gonna do the balancing pose, and then we're gonna work on the core, okay? So the balancing pose is my favorite. You know which one it is. So you're balancing yourself onto your left foot. Now imagine that leg is sunk in mud, and then you're clenching that left glute. By clenching the left glute, you're engaging the medius, gluteus medius, which stabilizes the hips, okay? Tiptoes of the right foot. 2 options here. The easier option is just lifting the right leg off the floor and placing your hand in front of the knee, bringing the knee up, okay? If you want to straighten the leg with the index and the middle finger, you're grabbing hold of the big toe. Now stand up straight before you straighten the leg. Now imagine that that leg is sinking into that hip joint, okay? So you're really pulling the leg into the joint so you really can pull the leg up. Now on the next inhale, bring your right leg out, either by the knee or by the foot. And if you want, you can start looking towards your left shoulder. On the next inhale, bring your leg forward, keep your leg off the floor, hands on the hips, and then you're bringing your leg down onto the floor. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. The other side. So, stand on your right foot, tiptoes of the left. Imagine that leg sunk in mud and squeezing that right glute. On the next inhale, add a hand in front of the knee, bringing that knee up and sinking that leg into the joint. Otherwise, grab hold of the big toe, stand up straight first. So you still want to have the core muscles engaged and standing up straight. So there's no point being like this. You want to be here, okay? Try to straighten the leg as much as you can. And then on the next inhale, bring your left leg out. And if you can, look towards your right shoulder. On the next inhale, bring your leg forward, hands on the hips, and then bring your leg down onto the floor. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do next, because we're going from one pose to the other, so I want you to see me before you do it, okay? So we're gonna do a bit of core muscles, so we're ending up at a plank, coming into a downward dog, lifting one leg off the floor, And then we're bringing knee to nose, shoulders above the wrist, coming back out. On the last one, we bring the knee towards the nose, and then you're bringing the edge of the foot onto the floor. Turning the other foot around and pushing the hips up, okay? That's the rock star. From here, we're coming back down. You're bringing the knee towards the chest, and then you're bringing the knee onto the floor. So the knee is forward, the lower leg is across the mat, and then we're coming into the gate pose, okay? So I'm gonna talk you through it, but at least you've seen the sequence, okay? Come to the top of the mat. Big toes are touching. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat. Add a step or jump into a high plank. Inhale, set the plank, and exhale, come into the downward dog. Bringing the feet together into the middle of the mat. So the big toes are touching. On the next inhale, you're lifting the left leg off the floor, pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. On the exhale, you're bringing the shoulders above the wrist, knee towards the chest. Inhale, you're coming back out. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders above the wrist. Inhale, come back out. One more. Knee to nose. Inhale, come back out. Now we're coming into the rock star. So you're bringing your left knee towards the chest, and you're bringing the edge of the foot on the outside of the right mat. Turn the right foot over. Bring your right arm up towards the ceiling. 3, push the hips up. 2, and 1. On the next inhale, you're looking down towards the floor. Bring your hand down. Bring your left knee towards the chest. Bring your knee, the left knee down onto the floor. So the knee is in front, the foot is across behind you, okay? So now 2 choices. You can leave the feet onto the floor pointing forward, or you can point the toes up towards the ceiling. Right hand onto the right leg, left hand up towards the ceiling, and then you're sliding towards the side, so you're feeling the stretch onto the left side of the body. Looking down towards your left armpit. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, you're coming back into a standing. Turn the right foot over. Look down onto the mat on your left side. Place your hands on the mat. You're coming back into a downward dog. Start walking your feet in the spot. Bringing the feet into the middle of the mat. And now we're going to do it on the right side. So you're lifting the right leg off the floor on the inhale. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders above the wrists. Inhale, come back out. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders above the wrist. Inhale, come back out. Last one. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders above the wrist. Inhale, come back out, and now rock star. So you're bringing your right knee towards the chest. Bring the edge of the right foot onto the mat, outside of the mat on the left side. Turn the left foot over, and then push your right hand up towards the ceiling. 3, push the hips up. 2, suck the belly in. And 1, look down towards the floor, hands on the mat. Bring your right knee towards the chest and bring your right knee down onto the mat. So the right knee is forward, the leg is across the mat. The left leg is straight, left hand up on the floor, on the mat. Right hand up towards the ceiling on the inhale. On the exhale, slide that left hand down onto the leg. And you're looking either towards your armpit or towards the ceiling. Feeling the stretch onto the right side of the body. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, you're coming back here. Now bring the knees together. We're going to turn into the mat, so we're coming on our fours, okay? Knees together, top of the feet on the mat. You're sitting on the heels. We're coming into child pose. You're resting the torso on the thighs. Your forehead is on the floor. The arms are forward. Catch up with the breath. So you're lengthening the breath. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what we're going to do, which is the dolphin pose, okay? Careful if you've got any injuries of the shoulder that you're not doing too much, okay? So you're coming on your forearms, you're on the tiptoes of your toes. First look at me and then we're going to do it together. So you're looking in between the hands and you're pushing your bum up, okay? Then once you're here, you're pushing your head through the elbows and through the arms. And then on the second one, you can bring your one leg up towards the ceiling and then the other one. And then you're coming down into child pose, okay? So you're coming up and you're bringing the elbows. So the forearms are on the floor, the palms are on the mat. The elbows are just underneath the shoulders. Tuck your toes under on the inhale. On the exhale, you're trying to push the bum up towards the ceiling. Now, if this is already enough, the more you're pushing your head through the arms, the more stretch you're getting on the shoulder. So if this is already enough, stay here for a breath or two and then bring your knees down, coming into child pose. Otherwise, push the head through the elbows. And then on the next inhale, bring the knees down onto the floor, coming into child pose. This time the arms comes along the body, resting the forehead down onto the floor. And then we're going to do it one more time. This time, if you want, you can also do the variation where you can lift one leg up. These are for arm balances, okay? So you basically want to get the stretching into the shoulder to be able to come up, okay? So come on your tiptoes. We're doing one more time. Pressing through. And then if you want, just see if you can bring one leg up. And then coming down. Pushing through the forearms. And then coming down. Come down onto the mat and come all the way up. Sit your body either side of the feet so that you can come onto the mat, sitting on the mat. You can use a block underneath your bum. Remove the flesh away from your buttock. Legs are straight, toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Hands either side of the bum with the fingers pointing towards the toes. Now you're rolling the shoulder back and you're bringing the elbows to the side, gently bending the elbow towards the back, okay? So you're opening the chest. And now really work on the core muscles. So you're clenching the bum hole, sucking the belly in, opening the chest, tucking the chin under. So you're gently bending the elbows so the shoulders are not coming up towards the ears. And just reconnect with the breath. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, suck the belly in. On the exhale, you're folding forward at the hip. Make sure you're still engaging the abdominals. When you feel like they're starting to go, just rest the hands wherever they're comfortable on the legs. Tuck your chin under. On the next inhale, suck the belly in, re-engage the core, press the knees down onto the floor. And on the exhale, pulling with the hands, you're trying to bring the torso towards the thighs. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Make sure you're still pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. You're feeling that the core muscle is engaged. Nice and long breaths. Now just scan the body and see wherever you need to send the breath to just allow the body to adjust to this pose. and opening up that part of the body. And then on the next inhale, come all the way up. Sit, so that basically you're bringing your bum into the middle of the mat, bending the knees, hands in front of the knees, you're rolling your shoulders back, you're rolling onto your back, so that you're really hugging the knees to the chest. Tuck your chin towards the chest so the neck is nice and long. And now we're going to do the bridge. So bring the feet in front of your hips. They are hip width apart. You should be able to touch some part of the foot. So the feet should be quite close to the bum. And then press your hands onto the mat. On the next inhale, tilt your pelvis under. So you're starting to shorten the distance between the pelvis and the rib cage. The bum comes off the floor. And then pushing the hips up. Still tilting the pelvis under. You can interlace the fingers behind your back, shuffling to the top of your shoulder, chin to chest, pushing the hips up. You're pressing down on the heels and onto the big toes, pushing the hips up, feeling that you're squeezing the glutes. Inhaling to the count of 5, looking down towards your belly. Exhaling to the count of 5. One more breath here. And then on the next inhale, release the hands down onto the floor. And on the exhale, bring your back down one vertebra at a time towards the mat. Hug the knees to the chest and rotate the knees clockwise if you need to just open up your lower back. And then we're going to do it one more time. So you can either do the full wheel or you can do some variation where you're basically coming up and then you straightening one leg. Okay, otherwise you just repeat what you've just done. If you want to do the full wheel, you invert the hands by your ears, pointing the elbows up towards the ceiling. On the next inhale, you're bringing the top of the head onto the floor and then straighten the arms, straightening the legs. To come out of the pose, you're tucking your chin under, you're bending the elbows, bringing the back of the head down onto the floor and then the rest of the back. So just do whatever version you want to do at this stage. I'm going to do the full wheel. And then when you're ready, start coming out of the pose. Hug the knees to the chest. Rotate the knees anti-clockwise, so you're giving yourself a little bit of a massage on the lower back, but you're also sort of releasing the front of the hips. And now keep your right knee hugged, straighten the left leg down onto the floor, grab hold of the back of the thigh, and then straighten the right leg. So you're pointing the toes down towards you. And now we're going to do the flossing. So on the next inhale, you're pointing the toes up towards the ceiling, lift the head off the floor. On the exhale, head to the floor, chin to chest, toes towards you. On the next inhale, toes towards the ceiling, lift the head off the floor, exhale, head to the floor, pointing the toes towards you. One more. On the next inhale, point the toes up, head off the floor, exhale, toes towards your head to the floor. And then bend the knee and swap the legs over. So you're straightening the leg onto the mat, hugging the left knee towards your chest, grab hold of the back of the leg, straighten the leg, pointing the toes towards you. On the next inhale, point the toes up, head off the floor. Exhale, head to the floor, point the toes towards you. Inhale, ceiling, head off.
Olga, you're muted.
Oh. Okay. Not sure why. Is that okay now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear now.
Thank you. So carrying on with the flossing, so pointing the toes up, head off the floor, pointing the toes towards you and head onto the mat. One more, pointing the toes up, head off the floor, pointing the toes towards you, head onto the floor. And then hug both knees towards the chest. Bring the soles of the feet together, the knees out. You can grab hold of the feet, making sure that the head is still onto the floor. So if you need a pillow, just place a pillow underneath your head. And you're just opening the knees out to the side. You can sort of roll slightly from side to side. And then, when you're ready, start bringing the knees towards your chest, hugging the knees to the floor, toward to the chest, and you're sort of rocking back and forward until you're coming up into a seated position. We're gonna do the shoulder stand. So either you do the shoulder stand on the floor or you're doing it against the wall. The reason you would do it against the wall is if you've got any problem with high blood pressure of the eyes, or you're on your menstrual cycle, okay? Otherwise, you do it on the floor. You can also do it if you're feeling tired today and you just want to put the legs against the wall. Otherwise, roll yourself onto the floor. Bring your legs over your head. If they don't touch the floor, start supporting your lower back and walk your hands up the floor, up the back as you're bringing your legs up. Otherwise, bring your legs over your head as they touch the floor. Shuffle to the top of your shoulders, support your lower back, and then bring one leg up at a time towards the ceiling. Now walk your hands up, and you're bringing your hips towards you and the legs away from you. 10 breaths here. And then on the next inhale, start bringing your legs over your head. If your feet don't touch the floor, keep on supporting your lower back. If the feet touch the floor, bring your top of the feet onto the floor. Legs are straight and you can interlace the fingers behind your back. Keep your legs there for a second or two, and then you can bend the knees so that you're resting the knees over your forehead or around the ears. And very gently start rolling you can undo your hands, grabbing hold of the mat if you want to, and then just start rolling your back down onto the floor. Coming out off to the shoulder stand and coming to do the fish pose, which is the counter pose. So your legs are straight, you're pointing the toes towards away from you, and you're resting on your forearms. So in this pose, you want to open up the throat, which has been constricted in the opposite position, which is the shoulder stand. You should be able to put the top of your head down onto the floor. So you need to slide the elbows away from the body, away from the torso, puff the chest up and release the top of the head down onto the floor. Into the pose, you can also bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and you can also lift the legs off the floor. To come out of the pose, tuck the chin towards your chest, and you're releasing yourself down onto the floor. Coming into the last pose, which is the Shavasana. So you have your feet as wide as the mat, flopping the feet to the sides, tucking your pelvis under so as much as your lower back is touching the floor, rolling your shoulders back, opening the arms out to the sides, palms facing up towards the ceiling, tucking your chin under so your neck is nice and long. You can use a pillow underneath your head here. You can also use pillows underneath the knees, or you can also bend the knees so that the feet are on the mat as wide as the mat and the knees are supporting each other. Okay, so just start relaxing the body. Start relaxing the top of the head, spreading throughout the scalp and the whole area covered by your hair. Relax your forehead, relax your temples, relax your eye sockets, relax your nose, relax your cheeks all the way across the face into the ears, relax your upper lip, relax your mouth, relax your lower jaw, and just notice any tension that you hold into your jaw and into your mouth. Relax the chin and the front of the neck, and relax the back of the neck. Come to the top of the shoulders, coming all the way into the shoulder joint, relaxing the shoulder joint, relaxing your upper arms, relax your elbows, relax your forearms, relax your wrists, and relax your hands. Come back to the top of the shoulders. We're going down the back, either side of the spine, starting from the space in between the shoulder blades and relaxing the shoulder blades. Relax the middle of the back, relax your lower back, coming down all the way into your glutes, all the way down over your reproductive organs and into your pelvic area, relaxing your pelvic area. Relax your lower abdomen, so the area between the pelvis and the belly button. And relax your upper abdomen, so between the belly button and the rib cage, coming up into the rib cage, relaxing the breasts, the chest, coming into the armpits and going down the sides of the body into the waist and into the hips. Relaxing your hips, relax the front of the thighs and relax the back of the thighs. Relax your knees, relax your calves, relax your shins, relax your ankles, and relax your feet. And now just start feeling as though the body is getting more and more relaxed, almost as if it's melting into the mat. Releasing any tension in the body. And now I want you to start bringing your attention into the breath. And I want you to start counting to 10. The count of 1 means inhaling and exhaling. And as you're counting to 10, I just want you to free up the mind. So just concentrate on the counting. And if there is one thought that comes up to your mind, you need to start all over again. So start now. And now very gently start bringing the attention back to the whole of the body. Take a deep breath in through your nose and sigh out through your mouth. Take a deep breath in through your nose
And as you sigh out through your mouth, start wiggling your toes. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you sigh out through your mouth, start wiggling your fingers. If you want, you can give yourself one long last stretch by bringing the legs together, bringing your arms over your head. Just tense up the whole body on your inhale, and on the exhale, just let go. And then very gently start hugging one knee at a time towards the chest. And then rock yourself back and forward until you're coming up into a cross-legged position onto the mat, or roll yourself onto your right side, pushing yourself up with your left arm, coming into a cross-legged position onto the mat. Bring your hand in front of your chest, close your eyes, remind yourself of the intention you set out at the beginning of the class, and also just make a mental note of what number you were able to reach before any thought popping up to your head. The secret there is that if you feel that there's a thought popping up to your head, it's almost like if you're seeing it through a train. You're seeing the thought, but then you're just not paying attention, and then it just goes. Okay? Thank you for practicing.